I don't know if it's some weird YouTube algorithm where everyone likes broken bones, but my videos where I mention my feet have gotten more views than my other ones. So in light of that and the many requests I've had to go over my whole broken foot and ankle journey, here I am. So I have a closed fracture, meaning broken. I have 2 fractures, one in the 5th metatarsal and the left malleolus of the left fibula. They're broken. Now I am about a week and a half into this horrible incident. It happened while I was at work. I am a bartender at a Chili's, and I was making drinks. I had just poured 2 beers. I was running around. I always move really fast, and I slipped and fell, right? I hit my knee. It's all bruised. It's still bruised. It still hurts. I went down. My foot bent inward, and then I sat on it. So, just from this diagram alone, you can assume, okay, broken foot. Now, when this happened, of course, I stopped working, and I immediately went to an emergency room care. I got an x-ray, and they wrapped me up in a splint in the meantime before I was able to get something more permanent. So the splint, I'm not sure exactly what it's made out of. Fiberglass, apparently. So they basically just make a fake cast type thing with some fiberglass, and it starts all soft. They cut it to match your foot, then it hardens, and then they wrap it with a couple of ace bandages. So I had that on for a few days. It was really annoying, really uncomfortable, but I never took it off. I didn't want to take it off, seeing as, I just broke my foot and ankle. But then a few days later, I finally went to the actual doctor, and they were not very helpful, honestly. So, of course, part of having a splint is using crutches, which I've used crutches before. I was a gymnast competitively for a long time, and so I've hurt myself many times. This is nothing new, but I've never broken my foot. I've broken my finger, my toes, but I've never broken, a whole, big part of my body. My knee, I don't know if you could see it in the camera, is still very bruised, even a week and a half later. And then, this is my boot. So, I go to the doctor, and he basically says, okay, it's not bad enough to need surgery, so you're not even going to need a cast. And I was like, for real? No cast? Okay. So, straight into the walking boot I go. I've never worn a boot before, like I said, but I am just so grateful that I did not have to get a cast. I've never had a cast before, actually. With all my other stuff, I had something that was like this, just hold it together, but I've never had a cast, and I know casts are the worst because obviously you can't take them off, you cannot wash them, you can't itch yourself, you cannot clean yourself, you cannot take a bath, you gotta stick your foot out of the bath so that it doesn't get wet, which I did do that with the split, but I only did that a few times, and they're horrible, they're so annoying. But like I said, luckily mine was not damaged enough to need a cast, so I get to just have the boot for now. I've still been using the crutches to walk around just because, it's only been a week or so and I don't really want to put all my pressure on the boot, but I'm starting to get into walking without the crutches. It's just a lot of hopping and skipping, and then it's the whole, I don't want to walk too early and then hurt it even more, and I know the whole point of the boot is to take the pressure off the foot for the most part, but still. And like I said, this doctor was not very specific at all. He basically was just like, well, when you think you can walk with just the boot, just, walk. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, so you want me to take pain medicine or anything? He was just like, ibuprofen, Tylenol, and I was like, okay. And then he was like, yeah, just do stretches, just massage it a little bit, whatever feels right. And I'm like, okay, so you're getting paid all this money to tell me to do what I think is right? So they get me in this walking boot, and I'm off to see the world. Honestly, the boot has been a lot better than the splint, especially because I can take it off. You don't have to sleep in it, you don't have to shower in it. Whenever I feel like I need to rest it or ice it or wherever it may be, I can take it off. I'm going to do a beautiful demonstration for you here on how the boot works. There's one on each side of these, they come off. It's just to tighten it up in there. I don't really know if there's like a point in tightening it. I guess just more support on the ankle. I haven't really tightened it much, just because it's been swollen, but today I have to go to my sister's graduation, and so I think that I'm just not going to bring the crutches because that's way too much work. So, 3 straps come off like that. This is just a protective piece. Just comes right off. It's just got, you know, whatever that is. And then there's a part here and a part here. Voila! Take the foot out, and mine is wrapped up still. So it really doesn't bother me too much now, generally throughout the day. I still have been trying to take, you know, ibuprofen and Tylenol. I've been trying to lean off, get on smaller doses, because at first they prescribed me 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and then Tylenol with codeine. So yeah, codeine number 3, 30 milligrams / 300 milligrams. That did run out pretty quickly though. The medicine that they prescribed me was gone within like 3-4 days because you're supposed to take it, you know, around the clock. Ibuprofen every 8 hours, Tylenol every 3. So I've been using what's known as the RICE method, which is obviously what you're supposed to do: rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So I have been sleeping with my foot elevated on a few pillows. It is annoying. It's difficult to keep it up there at night, especially when I'm trying to get comfy, but I try my best to keep it elevated because when it's above the heart, there's going to be less swelling, less pain. I just got both of these pierced and my hair keeps getting stuck in it and it hurts. When I first fell, I was in extreme pain. I literally sobbed for 2 hours straight, and I do not cry, like, ever. It's not my thing. I don't like crying over pain. I don't like crying over feelings. I don't. But that shit hurt so bad that I literally could not control it. If I wanted to stop crying, I couldn't. I tried over and over and over again, but I was in so much pain, could not move it, could not even think without bawling. And so that went on for about 2 hours. I'm getting my x-ray done. Worst pain in my life. I literally thought I was going to pass out because my foot feels like it's on fire, and he's like, oh, turn it, angle it this way so that I can get your x-ray. And I'm like, dude, I'm wearing skinny jeans right now. I'm bawling my eyes out. I have a broken foot and ankle. You're telling me to turn my foot? So that was a horrible part of the experience. The first few days, it was bad. It hurt so bad. But luckily, once, you know, a couple days had passed, the medicine that I've been taking, it didn't hurt as much. And so now it's kind of just like baseline, you know. I've still been trying to take pain medicine semi around the clock, you know, maybe a few times a day, alternating between the ibuprofen and Tylenol, but I know eventually you want to be able to work off to be able to see if you can stand and walk in the boot on your own without the pain medicine. But yeah, I mean, 6 to 8 weeks for the foot to heal. And I'm obviously out of work until then. My work is paying for it, seeing as I broke it at work. All of it's through workers' comp, thank God, because this would be very expensive. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is just the world's way of telling me to take a break. I'm hoping, you know, next week I won't have any trouble walking in just the boot without the crutches, and that way I can just walk in the boot for a few weeks, like a month, you know, and then be like, hey doc, I'm good, I'm done with this. But at the same time, I've tried to like point my foot and move it around and all that stuff when it's out of the boot, and it's just like, I'm like, what is that? That's not what you're supposed to do. I keep trying to convince myself that it's not broken, that I can just walk, that it's fine. But then I see the bruising and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should not. But like the doctor said, it's all up to me on what feels right. So, I mean, I'm kind of just going with the flow here. Trying not to push it too hard, but you definitely want to make sure that you're eventually trying to get it back to normal, you know. It's just a matter of when really is that threshold. And so I think at about the 2-week mark, I'll probably be able to start putting pressure on it, massaging it, moving it around, and just hopefully I won't have a bunch of muscle deterioration from not using it. That's all the crucial information I can think of for now. If you guys have any more questions, leave them down below. Never did I think I'd be making a broken foot video, but here I am. So, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I probably won't make more feet videos, but yeah. I'll see you in the next one.